If you're watching this, you're someone that's struggling to gain weight, you're not too sure what to eat, don't know how to train in order to maximize muscle growth. But fear not, as in this video, I'll go through the exact step-by-step process that took me from a skinny, little, insecure boy to actually gaining quite a decent amount of muscle and being fully confident in myself when I'm shirtless. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, I'm going to talk about the most important thing in actually bulking up and gaining muscle, that is nutrition. So for this, the main thing that you need to understand is that as long as you're on a caloric surplus, you will gain weight. It doesn't matter if you have bad genetics, doesn't matter if you have an insanely high metabolism or an ectomorph body type. As long as you're eating more calories than you burn, you will gain weight. It's as simple as that. So first up, you need to know how much calories you're even burning in the first place. And for this, you simply just need to go to the calculator I've linked in the description below. And from there, fill in the details and it'll give you a rough estimate of how much calories you're burning a day based on your activity level. And if you're a beginner starting out, I'll first start off with a 300 to 500 calorie surplus, ensuring that I'm hitting it daily for a consistent period of time. If you feel like you're still not gaining weight even with the 300 to 500 calorie surplus, I would recommend you to increment it by 200 at a time. So slowly increase it by 200. Again, if you're still not gaining weight, just increase it by another 200. If you're still not gaining weight, then it probably means you're not tracking it properly. But if you're someone that has a fast metabolism and a shitty appetite, listen up, because it's my 3 biggest tips in helping me get my calories in more effectively despite being someone with a shitty appetite. So the first will be liquid calories. Liquid calories are one of the most effective ways in getting your calories in even when you don't feel like eating. It's so much easier to drink 1000 calories than to eat 1000 calories. And to prove this, here's a recipe of a shake that has 1000 calories and 80 protein. I'll be putting it on the screen right here. Feel free to try it out and leave in the comments if I was able to help you gain weight. Alright, and the second tip I have is to eat calorie-dense food. So calorie-dense food are just food that are more packed with calories compared to other food. So examples of this will be like avocados, nuts, peanut butter, olive oil. And most of this contains pretty healthy fat. As a skinny guy, you should always be striving for eating this calorie-dense food, as it's a lot easier to eat compared to foods that are less calorie-dense. Alright, so tip number 3 is to spread out your calories. It's so much harder to eat 3000 calories in 2 meals compared to in 4 meals. As someone with a pretty small appetite, it's so much easier if I just spread my meals across throughout the day. If you're someone that can't eat that much in a single sitting, it's going to be so much beneficial for you to spread out your meals throughout the day rather than just trying to chuck the food down and just feeling like shit after that. And make sure you plan it out accordingly. So what I like to do is the day before, I'll roughly plan out the meals that I'm going to have. And if you can just get in the routine of eating the same meals over and over again, so you don't really have to track anything from there. Alright, next time we'll talk about training and how you should be training in order to build the most amount of muscle in the shortest amount of time. My first start is to pick a few exercises for a workout. In the gym, I always see like guys doing random, weird exercises that doesn't really get them any gains. And I'm sure you guys heard of the 80-20 rule before, but 80% of results come from 20% of your inputs. So the same thing applies for muscle building as well. 80% of the gains you make actually only comes from 20% of the exercises you do. So what you want to do is really focus on this 20% exercises. So for me, since I focus on calisthenics and bodybuilding at the same time, the exercises I recommend you to follow is dips, incline bench, pull-ups, and rows. If you're able to master these 4 exercises and progressively overload them, you have a shredded aesthetic looking upper body in no time. And for lower body, I honestly just recommend going with weighted squats. So here are my 2 biggest tips for training if you actually want to gain muscle fast. The first will be to train hard. So if you're watching this, you're probably thinking that you're training hard enough, but the truth is, you're probably not. See, muscle building is supposed to be incredibly painful. You should be grunting, you should be making faces, you should be in agony when you're training, because that's where the most muscle growth is going to happen. I see so many people at the gym literally training to like mild discomfort, and you can tell that they're not making much progress as well. So when you train, make sure to push yourself as hard as humanly possible. If you want to be able to train harder, here are some things that I recommend for you that has worked for me. Abuse caffeine before your workouts. Get plenty of sleep the night before. You want to carb out before your workouts. And lastly, this is a super underrated tip, but you want to get a training partner who pushes you hard as fuck. You want them literally in your ear, mid-set, like just screaming at you and hyping you up. I guarantee you'll be able to train so much harder with that. The next thing I have for training, which is probably the most important thing in building muscle fast, and that is progressive overload. So progressive overload simply just means you're adding something to a workout over time. This could be doing your reps with more weight, this could be doing more reps, this could be even doing a harder variation of exercise. The point is you want to try to add something to a workout every single time. So you want to make sure you're tracking your workouts and make sure you're doing more and more every single week. This will not only help you build more strength, but also build more size and muscle over time. Now the next important thing for bulking and gaining muscle is your recovery. Here's the thing that most beginners don't understand. Your muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow when you rest, they grow when you sleep, they grow when you get enough protein. So you want to make sure you pay proper emphasis to them. So here are the main things you want to take note of to make sure you're recovering properly and having optimal muscle growth. First will be to make sure that you're getting enough protein. You want to aim for about 2 grams of protein per kg of your body weight. Having enough protein is crucial for muscle recovery and growth. So you want to make sure you're focusing on eating high protein stuff like chicken, beef, salmon, eggs, and just all kinds of meat. The next thing to take note of for your recovery is sleep. Sleep is probably one of the most underlooked aspects of building muscle, but it's also one of the most important one as well. Most muscle recovery happens when you're asleep, especially during the stages of deep sleep, where your body releases growth hormones and other factors that stimulates tissue repair and muscle growth. Sleep also helps to regulate hormones like cortisol and testosterone, which plays a huge part in muscle growth as well. You want to aim for 8 to 10 hours of time in bed because you also need to account for the time you take to sleep and also your sleep efficiency. The single biggest tip I can give for you for sleep is to just make sure you have a fixed sleep routine and you stick to it consistently. Studies has found that sleep regularity is literally as important as a sleep quantity. Alright, last but not least is your mindset and consistency. Consistency is hands down going to be the most important thing in your fitness journey. You could have the perfect training plan, you could have the perfect meal plan, but if you're not consistent, none of it matters. And to me, consistency is mainly just about not giving up. You could have shitty days where you feel weak, you could have ruts where you lose motivation, but as long as you don't give up and you get back into it, I can almost promise you, you're going to have an insanely sick physique. As for the mindset aspect of things, the only thing you need to focus on is to only compare yourself with the you of the past. It's easy to look at all this insane transformation and physiques that you see on social media and think that you're doing something wrong and there's something wrong with your genetics or whatever. But here's the truth, you don't even know where they are on their journey. They might be enhanced, they might be using Photoshop for their pictures, they might be training for 10 years, you never know, right? So just make sure to focus on yourself and your own journey. Where you are right now is not important, where you're going is, and this is determined by your current habits and mindset. We are what we repeatedly do, therefore excellence is not an act, but a habit. If you want to become the man you always dreamed of and build the physique that you always wanted, it's time to take action today. And if you feel like you still need more help with crafting a personalized training plan or meal plan, or just need more help with accountability and staying consistent, feel free to book in a call in the link in the description down below.